Students. So, in what I want you to try and do is I want you to try and find some object that ideally you don't know what it is. Something that maybe your father, your mother, or one of your grandparents may know what it is. And if it's something that you can't find that you don't know what it is, try and find something that maybe your friends wouldn't know about. So, in as you find the object, the goal is you're going to try and present it to other people and see if they can figure out what it is. So in my videos, I have this object. So it's a continuous piece of metal, and it's kind of looped around. Put the ruler down for a moment. So it's looped around, kind of like wire clothes hangers might be, and it's got a large loop. You can kind of take some guesses about what that might be. And then towards the bottom of it, if it'll focus, you can kind of see that there's a twisting to it. Now, it's not a continuous twist. Part of it is like a screw that you might use to put into a piece of wood or into a wall. But then it gets a little wider, so it's not something that I think would catch. Now, in my case, I know what this is, but I want you to see, take your own guesses, and then take a look at what my father and some others may say about it. And then I'll talk about how you can do some searches based on some of the descriptions that they give. So hopefully you'll find this to be a fun little challenge, because in real life, like, there's a lot of things that you're going to come across that you have no idea what they are, how they work, what they're supposed to be used for. And it's a real life skill to figure out what they are, how you use them, if you need to replace them, is it something you can replace? What I've got, it's hopefully, I know my focus is not great, but you seeing that?
Yeah,
So it's got kind of it's a like continuous piece of metal. There's a little tip towards the front, um, almost has some grooves in it. And then towards the back, it kind of loops around almost like a clothes hanger.
yeah, kind of like a handle,
Yeah. So, any idea what it is?
an auger.
An auger. Why are you saying an auger?
Well, like kind of thing you'd use for leather work to go ahead and punch a hole and open it.
Okay.
Kind of hard to see the tip, but
Yeah, I know my focus isn't great, but the front of it is almost kind of like a screw head, and then it's more like a ribbon style pattern as it opens up a little bit.
yeah, it still looks to me like just a leather working auger.
So leather working is one of the things it can be used for. It's actually called a gimlet. It's a
Gimlet. Yes,
You remember those now?
I do.
I bet Granddad used those, didn't he?
Um, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, that's an old. Uh, it's an old tool to go ahead and punch a hole in something easily. And oh god, I'm trying to think where else I know that name from. But I think that's like medieval. Those have been around for a long time. You would find those in some of the like 16th century woodworking books. So the fluted the way that it's hollowed out on the edge, um, to allow you to go ahead and draw out the material as you're punching in. That's kind of the tip off to it. But I would have never remembered the name Gimlet for it. Where'd you find that?
Um, I think I bought some of them a while back because I remember using them on sets sometimes to do a pilot hole. So anytime
Yeah,
we needed to do something small, it was a small drill bit, and I've got a set of four of them. So precise tool, and surprisingly, you can. I don't think you can find them at Lowe's, but you can find them in some other woodworking stores these days. So, um, So yeah, thanks for spending a few minutes remembering what these were.
Okay, cool.
Hey, HD, what do you think that is?
That's better. It's like an old-fashioned eye bolt that would go into something, or like a locking screw. So it'd go through like two pieces and twist down to hold something in place. That would be my best bet. I say that because the really tight screw type here on the end that kind of opens up sort of like a drill bit, but it's not drill bit all the way down. And then this has the like eye bolt style shape that I'm used to seeing. And dogs. Sit.
So in the video portion with my dad, I think he was probably the closest with identifying what these are. And when you don't know the exact name, just like he didn't know what the exact name was, you can go ahead and take some of the characteristic descriptions of them. Okay, sometimes that's going to be from people that have experience with them or who loosely remember them, or it could be just things that you kind of identify. Okay, so when my dad was talking about it, he kept referring to as an auger. So if we do a search for an auger, we're going to recognize that we're talking about some really, really big tools. Like these are often used for picking up dirt. And this is definitely too small to be considered one of these. So we started adding in some other hand terms. So we can say handheld. Or maybe include things like it had a handle. Okay. And when we look at the images, okay, we're going to see some other things. Okay, so we have like shoulder braces. That's a kind of a handheld drill bit. But as you start looking through these, you'll start seeing, you know, things like this, where it has a handle. It has a similar spiral to what we see on this auger, okay, or on this gimlet. Now you can try and use some of the other terms in here. So antique, or we can actually just try doing a search for gimlet. So we start switching this up. We'll find that it's a, that pretty quickly picks up exactly what we're talking about. And here we can see that there are some places where you can still get them. Okay? So the one that kind of comes to my attention is Garnet Webb. This is a way bit higher end company, but they have sets of them, very similar to the one that I've got. Get it in the video. Similar to the one I've got. And we can actually see what the prices are. So not exactly an inexpensive tool, but one that can be used for going ahead and making small holes. You can actually see how it's used, or watch their video and see different ways of using them. So main thing in terms of trying to find the exact object is pay attention to those key terms, things that you hear multiple times when you're trying to figure out what an object is, or when you can identify some of the features. So to actually use a gimlet, you need to go ahead and take the handle, and usually you have to kind of make it in the palm of your hand, and then you go ahead and start pressing down as you're twisting it to start the hole. But as you make progress, the gimlet will go ahead and feed itself in, just like a screw usually goes into a piece of wood. And then as the hole starts expanding, you'll see the sawdust starting to come out of the hole. And before long, you're going ahead and working your way through the entire piece of wood. So not as useful as a modern drill, but as you can see, that went ahead and started making a hole that can go through the entire block of wood. Alright guys, hopefully in this video you're seeing a lot of the general ideas about what you need to cover in this assignment of what is it, but there are going to be two parts to this, okay? Now, all of it's based on the object that you find, but in terms of documentation, one portion is going to be the text-based stuff, and you'll see a template like this one to go ahead and that you put together the information. So your name, the answer, pictures to go ahead and describe what it looks like. So we're talking about top, front, right side, bottom views as needed, maybe some detail if needed, but we do want to include a scale so we know how big it is. You will describe basically what you think it is, maybe how you're actually introducing it to the people that you're challenging to identify the object. And then I want a bit of history. Basically, in the object, did you know what it was when you started? Is it something that you did not know what it was? And then a short description of what the people you interviewed basically described. So your own guess, if that applies, and then try and get 3 people, but if you can't get 3 people, 1 or 2 hopefully is enough. I really want to see at least 2 people though. 1 probably is not enough. After you know what it is, after you've done your research on it, make sure you're going ahead and describing what it is. And you can use the video of someone who did identify it. You can put it into your own words. It's kind of up to you. But you are going ahead and kind of writing it out. So what's the functionality of it? Describe the purpose, how it's used, any special features it may have, and try and see if it's still available. Where can you buy it if it's still out there? You will have kind of an example document that I've put together, so the different views, description of the object, I described it, the object, and what people thought about it, what they considered it to be, describing kind of what it is, using some research. I actually looked it up in a dictionary, find some real life notes on it, and then of course I found where it was available online. Okay, so you can still purchase these. Now the final part of this, of course, is making a video. I do want you to try and record, say, the interviews that you did. So this is me kind of editing the video that you're watching right now. Does not need to be a single video. If you need to have it as a couple of segments, that's absolutely fine. If you've got something that would look good as a portfolio, that would be even better. Use the time, use the resources you've got. Doesn't need to be anything super fancy, but the end goal is I do want you to be able to share these videos with your classmates on Canvas so we can kind of comment on them. So it's a bit more of we can see what else is out there in the world. Hopefully you'll get something that's similar to the This Old House videos. So if not, that's cool, but I do want to see you guys contributing kind of as a community, as a group of classmates, since we're all in a little bit of a... Hopefully this is a fun project. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I have, and I look forward to seeing what you guys find, since I'm sure you'll find some things that I don't know what they are. So good luck, and let me know if you need some help.